Northern Classic Commercials welcome you to their Northern Classic Truck Run. The run is over 2 weeks and it is in 3 parts. Part 1 is from Wellington to Cambridge, Part 2 is from Cambridge to Awatere, and Part 3 is from Awatere to Fielding. Now let's begin at Part 1. On day 1 the trucks come to Wellington, then we all assemble at Southwoods at Paraparam, then everybody heads up to Wanganui for the first night. The next day we head up to Harura and then we're on up to New Plymouth to overnight there before our trek up to Cambridge. On day 3 we leave New Plymouth and head up the coast, then cut inland to Tikuiti and visit the Waitomo caves, then after that we cross the country and end up at Cambridge. About 18 trucks from the South Island came up to Picton to join the ferry to get across to the North Island to begin the run. The organisers chose straight shipping to ship the South Island trucks across, and it's interesting to note that the people who work on Blue Bridge have to be able to drive all sorts of things, including this road machine.
If the woman I'm loving ain't right here by my side, walk on.
First in is Mike Houghton with his 1968 Leyland Beaver, followed by Peter Murdoch in a Leyland Boxer. Next up is Tim Oliver with Charlie Boys in their 1982 White Road Boss.
Can't get along, walk on.
Next is Conrad Waihope with his Mack Superliner.
My baby, walk on.
And next on is Ian Ridd with his 1900 International, and I'm not quite sure what he's got on the back of that, a Chev I think. Next on board is Peter Duthie with his Ford Cargo. Then we've got an International Transstar and an old Ergomatic AEC behind that. And behind that, an International Ute. Next is Ian Brown with his Mercedes with a Chev on the back of that. And following him in is Guy Oliver, and he's got an International F1800. And next is Bob Merton's 1975 Bedford, and it's followed by Gerald Taylor's Isuzu. Then we've got an old Ford Ute, and that's followed in by Roger Mard's 1960 Leyland Super Comet. And next is a cab over white, and that's followed by the last truck in, which is another Mack Superliner. Well, they're closing up the big back doors and getting the boat ready to sail, and everybody's looking forward to a lovely trip across the Straits. It's only blowing about 50 knots, so it won't be too bad a trip. And there it is, there's the town of Picton. All the drivers have got together and having a bit of a laugh on the back of the boat and enjoying a lovely sunshiny day across to the other side.
Walk on, my baby, walk on. I'm gonna keep on walking till I find my way back home. Yeah.
Well, we've reached Wellington and nobody was sick. Everybody had a wonderful meal on board the boat and a great time. But now it's just a matter of unloading everybody and setting them up somewhere on the wharf so they're all together. In the foreground is Vic Draper, and he's one of the organisers of this trip they've called the North Island Lap. And everybody's really excited about being in the North Island for the start of this wonderful 2-week event. The organisation of such an event is absolutely huge, and you have to take your hat off to the guys who have actually volunteered to organise this very big trucking event.
My way back home.
What happens from this point, everybody will be going to Vic Draper's yard and having a bit of a barbecue, a bit of a relax, and unload some of the machinery that has been brought up from the South Island.
I'm gonna keep on walking till I find my way back home.
The organisers have asked me to thank Straight Shipping for their cooperation in getting the trucks across to the North Island.
Back home. Thank you, thank you.
Vic Draper has an excavating company and he's into bulldozers and scrapers and heavy machinery, and he has a yard north of Wellington which everybody's basically headed to, and they'll find a park for all these trucks somewhere within the yard. These two TK cabs have come up from the South Island, bought by Peter Vincent, and I think he's going to do something with them. Not only are the South Island trucks here, there's a few trucks coming from around the North Island to Vic's yard that have come across from Wairarapa and places like that. The run actually kicks off on Monday the 11th of October, and some of these South Island guys have been driving for a few days already. Vic Draper is unloading Peter Vincent's cabs, and Peter's got a Bedford project going, and he's hopeful that the one he's got plus these two cabs will make one decent cab out of the whole lot of them. So Peter's very pleased that these two cabs in reasonable condition have come up from the South Island.
She's not well. She's not well at all.
Jesus, just bought it.
Hey, the newness has worn off it already. Oh yeah. Oh, somebody's picked it up.
This is Mike Houghton with his twin steer Leyland, and what he's going to do is load on a caravan, and you can see that Leyland behind them has already got a caravan on, as has the truck behind that.
Oh, they're going to push it. Look at this. They are good.
And the idea behind the caravans is to act as accommodation. You can imagine the expense of doing 2 weeks on the road with all these old trucks. Just the fuel bill alone is going to thousands. And so to save a little bit on the accommodation, if you can actually stay on the back of your truck in a reasonable, comfortable caravan, that just takes away some of the expense of participating in such a run like this.
You can do that when you take it back, Peter. Yeah. Tell him we're highly dissatisfied and we want a refund.
It's been a cold southerly wind all day long and everybody's all rugged up, and a reasonable sunset, but now it's time for something to eat. The Draper sausage. And everybody's got sausage, you've got meat patties, and there's all sorts of lovely 99% fat-free stuff here for very hungry truck drivers. But everybody from the south had a great time up and across the ferry. It's been wonderful. But anyway, we're at Vic Draper's now having a bit of a meal. So she's, yeah. Well, the date is the 11th of October 2010, the place is Southwards Car Museum, and the event is the official start of the Northern Classic Commercials North Island Long Lap. The start time is 9 AM, so let's watch the trucks that are participating in this part of the journey arrive.
Uncle Pete was a trucker, riding those Hodaki plains. 10 split gears and an overdrive, chrome stack shooting out flames. He'd throw me up into the cab, my little hands would grip the wheel. I would dream about the day I could drive that rig for real. Rolling, rolling, rolling around the world. 10 years old and 10 feet tall, waving goodbye to the girl next door. Rolling, rolling, today I'm king of the street. I got my sleeves rolled up and my arm hanging out as I drive off with Uncle Pete. As I drive off with Uncle Pete. Heading west on Highway 1, my eyes are glued to the road. The two-way always in my hand, and little buddy, that's my code. We'd pull into mix for a pie and chips, not a Brussels sprout inside. some yarns to spin as we listen to Slim. Then we drive into the night. Rolling, rolling, rolling around the world. 10 years old and 10 feet tall, waving goodbye to the girl next door. Rolling, rolling, today I'm king of the street. I got my sleeves rolled up in my arm, hanging out as I drive off with Uncle Pete. As I drive off with Uncle Pete. Showing up in front of the girl next door. Rolling, rolling, today I'm king of the street. I got my sleeves rolled up in my arm, hanging out as I drive off with Uncle Pete. I got my sleeves rolled up in my arm, hanging out as I drive off with Uncle Pete. As I drive off with Uncle Pete. If I had one wish, I'd wanna be. If I had one wish, I'd wanna be. If I had one wish, I'd wanna be like my Uncle Pete.
Well, the North Island Long Lap begins at Southwood's Car Museum, and Ray Reid and Vic Draper, who are the organisers, welcome everybody to the run and give a bit of a safety spiel, etc. before we head up north.
And if you've got any problems with anything on the way, see Vic first and then...
Well, the run has started, and the first leg is between Southwood's Car Museum and Rod Clifton's tractor collection, which is in Te Horo. Everybody's pretty excited. It's only a short leg to the tractor museum, and we'll get a look around that site while we're there. And then we're on up to Bulls for a look at a museum. From there, the destination for this day is Wanganui. And there's a bit of a treat lined up there with a ride on the old steam ferry or the paddle steamer. And everybody's going to have their dinner on board that, and that'll be quite interesting in itself. So just enjoy these trucks as they travel to Te Horo.
It may be peculiar how I think of you. If you want me, baby, here's what you must do. You gotta give me. I can't get my bed unless I got a little bit of room to move. If you want me, baby, take me while you can.
In Te Horo, Rod Clifton has a tractor museum, and he's a collector and restorer of tractors. The team's going to have a bit of a look around his yard.
Okay, because Rod will take you through the collection now. Okay? And that'll be good.
Rod tractors here, and if we walk about 100 yards we'll see another 50 or 60 if you feel like it, which I don't own those other 50 or 60 though, but they're in one of my sheds. So we'll go for a wander. I'll show you a bit of a mess in my workshop. I'm always in a mess. My mother said I was always a messy child. My wife says I'm still messy. See, so in the workshop, we can't take you to that part of it, but we're restoring and Kent, my mechanic, we're restoring a Ruston. It's R-U-S-H-T-O-N. There's 3 of them in New Zealand, and I wrote to England a couple of months ago after some parts for this tractor, and it's one of the biggest tractor books in the world. And the guy quickly wrote back to me and he says, "You've got more in New Zealand than we've got in England." And they were made in 1929 to 1932, so there's 3 in New Zealand and there's not many elsewhere. Now this tractor I brought it at a farm clearing sale. The scrap mum wanted it, and I said, no, I'll have that. There you are. So I'm hoping to have it going for February.
Here's what you must do. You gotta give me. I can't get my bed unless I got a little bit of room to move.
It's the first vehicle ever brought. Yeah. 15 I brought the truck. Past here. I've still got the original ownership papers at home. It was bought brand new in Palmerston North from Porter Motors. Yeah. And it went around Palmy a few times, then to Levin. And where I was brought up in Otegi, there's a dairy farm next door to us. This was their farm truck. Yeah. Dad brought it off him for $10, I think it was. And my brother brought it off with my father, and I brought it off with my brother. Yeah. So it's been in the family for, well, I've owned it for 38 years. That's all good fun. Yeah.
Well, we've reached Wanganui and dinner's on that boat over there, which is a paddle steamer called Waitomo, and it does its dinner trip, I think, on the Wanganui River. And we're all booked onto that for a bit of an entertaining evening on board the old, it looks a bit narrow gutted to me, but I'm sure they can fit everybody on it. But I see the spit roast company's here, so it looks like we're having a roast dinner for dinner. And so we're looking forward to a bit of truckie entertainment on board the old Waitomo. So let's go aboard. I remember being on Wanganui a few years ago, well, a lot of years ago, and they were telling me that this particular paddle steamer was buried in the mud, and a society of people or group of people actually got it dug up out of the mud and restored it to the state it is at the moment. And I think there's a plaque on it that's somewhere that says the boiler was actually built for this particular Waitomo paddle steamer. So it's got a lot of history, this boat, and it's actually quite a pleasure to be able to go onto the thing. In a minute or two we'll go down to the boilers and see how it all works. Organising a truck run like this, you have to take into account the entertainment factor, and having an evening on this old paddle steamer is great, and there's some tucker ahead of us as well, so we're all looking forward to that. But this is a real treat. Good Wanganui tucker, look at that. But as I said, let's go down to the engine room and have a look at this big boiler, which is all full of valves and things. But there it is, S Steel Industries Limited for the paddle steamer Waitomo. And there's the pistons that drive the old paddles themselves. But all the truckies went down for a bit of a look. We were allowed down there a couple at a time to have a look at the process of how this whole thing works. And of course, you shovel on the coal, it makes the steam and drives the old paddle. So old technology, but still good. Some people chose to stay at a motor camp up the river a bit, and those orange trucks belong to Paul Gleeson. Next, we're on our way to Harura. We're on our way to Harura, where we're going to assemble in a big paddock and have some lunch there. But we're still in the company of some of the South Island guys, and they're thoroughly enjoying the adventure so far. This old ergomatic Leyland has come from Wellington, and it belongs to Peter Vincent, whose intention it is to restore it. And this beautifully restored old Mercedes belongs to Ian Brown from Otago. Him and his wife are thoroughly enjoying it as well. And there's old Roger Mann and his Super Comet Leyland, and our new arrival is Robert Caulfield with his 190. We've arrived in Harura, and we're the guests of Moller Johnson, the vehicle distributors in Harura, and they'll be putting on lunch for us, which is very nice of them. And in the field, everybody's basically parking up for another bit of a display, and that beautifully restored Leyland, LAD Camp Leyland, belongs to Vic Draper, and what a wonderful job he's done of that. This R190 that's just turning up, it belongs to Bob Ellis, and he's beautifully restored that as well, and he's absolutely proud of it. Another North Island truck is this white, and that belongs to Tom Kiernan from Tauranga, and he's joining the group as well. I thought I saw the Concorde then, but that big Kenworth belongs to organiser Ray Reid, and here comes the Concorde, the most famous truck in New Zealand, and Barry Caulfield's driving that.
We got eggs to lay, we got ground to dig, and worms to scratch. Takes a lot of setting, getting chicks to have. There ain't nobody here but it's chicken. There ain't nobody here at all. So stop that fussing, stomping around. There ain't nobody here but us.
And you've got to say, there's certainly an impressive amount of metal lining up here. It's all absolutely stunning. Well, Robert Caulfield's just turned up in his R190, and next to it is another R190, both painted up in New Zealand Forest Products colours, and that second one belongs to Paul McNee. Well, we've reached Harura, and we've certainly had a better day than we had yesterday with all the rain and the hail and the snow that sort of Wellington to Wanganui produced, but here we are in Harura, a beautiful day, and the trucks look absolutely gleaming as they line up in the paddock out there, so looking forward to the next piece of the trip, which is from here to New Plymouth. Well, we're joined by Ian Lord on the way, and he's got an old TM Bedford, one like I used to drive. And we make our way to New Plymouth, and we're all expecting good things there. We're staying at Century Hill, which is a motel and a restaurant, especially for truckies. And it's based on the north side of New Plymouth. So that's our destination. But before we get there, let's have a look at a little section we're calling the Northern Lap Profile, where we take a look at individual trucks.
This truck was one of 18 brought into the country by Domtrack, and it was brought new by a owner driver in Dunedin by the name of Russell McCauley. So I am fortunate enough to be the second owner of it. I haven't had to do a lot to it because Russell was one of the old school truck drivers who really looked after his gear, and so yes, I'm quite proud of the old girl really. They're pretty rare, and it's got the 350 Cummings, 15-speed road ranger box, 44,000 pound diffs in it, and really enjoying this rally we're having at the moment. Love these old R Series Internationals that are turning up from everywhere, and a great crowd of people, so thoroughly enjoying it.
Well, the truck is a 1973-74 L14-18 Mercedes. It was originally purchased by Freight Haulage Nightcaps in Invercargill in South Island. It was converted to a tandem drive by Steel Brothers in Christchurch. It was used mainly for stock haulage to Makareva freezing works in the South Island. It's one of the probably models of Mercedes-Benz in the earlier stage of their trucking career that put them back on the map, and probably made transport companies a lot of profit over the years in that. They had bigger models after this one, 26, 24s, through to some 280 horsepower ones. They're still pretty basic trucks. 10.9, I call it a tank engine, pretty reliable, 4-valve head, puts out about 180 horsepower, reasonably economical. We put a wee jerry box in behind her to give her a bit more leg, and we still use it today. The Chev on the back, that's a 1934 Chevrolet. They come in as skid units. It's got a wooden cab on it. It's got 216, what they call a stove bolt engine, 6-cylinder, overhead valve, 3-speed gearbox. It's 3 owners. I used to service it when I was on field service for CB Norwoods at Moskill. Our stuff, we try and maintain it to a pretty high sort of standard, and that reflects in what the Chev's like on the back.
I've had this truck for over 40 years. It's a Leyland Super Comet, made in 1960. It's one of the first 2 to come into the country of the Super Comets, and these trucks were very much advanced. They were much heavier truck all round than the ordinary Comets. They came out with first trucks out from the UK with air brakes. They were Westinghouse brakes, and which was a great improvement on the earlier brakes. These trucks were made for carrying a heavier load, and they were much specced up from the earlier Comets. The only thing they forgot about was the jolly no power steering, and when you get a full load on, man, it takes some pulling on the steering wheel to get around the corner. It's been a wonderful truck. Over the 40 years, or plus 40 years plus, it's had a couple of motor overhauls, but it's done a couple of million or more miles, and hard work. And their nickname for this old truck, because they reckoned it as possibly a cross between a traction engine and something in between a truck, that they always referred to her as Thunderguts. And they got up in arms and said, let's hang on to Thunderguts. We don't want the new truck. Let's have Thunderguts. That have been such a reliable old truck, and given us such great service. It's a great being on this trip amongst these other trucks, and I'm sure our old Leyland will get us there.
It's a 73 1319 Mercedes, and I have the grand total of 190 horsepower, which makes me spew, because when we hit the hills everybody overtakes me, because I've got a load on. So you get that. Oh, she rides beautifully she does. For its age, and it's done, well, it's got a badge on for not a million miles, but it's done a lot more than that. And for its age, it gets along really well. But we don't cane her. I'm only running 2,000 revs on her, and that's it. It's been in Gleason's bought her brand new, and yes, so they've had her since brand new, and that's a 31 Chev and Eric Gleason's first truck. There's 6 drums of diesel sitting on the back there too, but no, that was Eric's first truck, and Paul restored it. So to make Dolly sit down and that, well, we stick that on the back. Well, we always put something on the back. On the Richardson run, I think we had about a 1931 Leyland on the back, but yes. It's a Bedford with a Detroit motor. It's 8B71, about 300 horsepower. It's got a 15-speed Road Ranger gearbox, a tandem drive. They were English trucks with a lot of American components that were put into them, but they finished up in about 1980 when the Japanese trucks made them back into New Zealand, and General Motors stopped bringing these out. But I operated one for a number of years, and it was a very successful truck. Pulled a trailer, and very happy with it, really.
There's a 1982 White Road Commander. Only ever 6 of them come into New Zealand as 8-wheelers. This used to be an 8-wheeler and it's cut down to a tractor unit. Originally owned by Caltex out of Palm North, and then they shifted to Martin and made it into a tractor unit. I bought it probably 3 years ago, a 350 Cummins, 15-speed Road Ranger. Yeah, just passion with trucks over the years. Gets you out. Something I really enjoy doing.
No, I know very little about that truck. We arrived here and I had to get everything loaded up with Paul. I know it's a 4-ton vehicle, a 4-ton Ford. That's about it. But we've spent one day loading up all the vehicles and all the various things. In regards to knowing much about the vehicle, no, very little, I'm afraid.
Thanks for that, guys. We'll have another truck profile later in the DVDs. The next stop towards New Plymouth is the Tawhiti Museum, and parking 45 odd trucks is actually quite a mission. But they did it, and everybody's enjoying themselves at the Tawhiti Museum. And if you get an opportunity, it's well worth the visit. And like all runs, there's lots of post-mortems.
When we were talking to Garth Hodgetts about the Concorde, and he said, to drive a 190, the first thing you've got to do in the morning is slam your fingers in the door, and then you hate it for the rest of the day. You're going to drive it like relationship with the first.
Everyone's heading to Century Hill, where we'll have our first presentation of the Dick of the Day Award. New Plymouth is known for Mount Egmont, or Mount Taranaki as it's known now, and it's also known for its West Coast harbour and the oil production that happens there.
We've actually had quite a busy day, and we've got a couple of little things we're going to give out tonight to a couple of people that have spent a lot of time and doing days outing for us and organising the day, and 1 or 2 instances that had happened. Been really quite helpful, and we'd like to thank those people for these things they've done today, and we would like first of all to have Ian and give him a little plaque for the effort that this man has put in today's run that we had. He organised this, Ian, and I think everybody here had a very enjoyable time at the museum and the Elvis place and things like that, and me and Vic really appreciate for your time and effort putting this together for us and the group.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Ian.
Thank you.
I'll tell you what.
Thank you, Bill.
All the best.
Yeah.
Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Oh, well, thank you very much. It's been quite a pleasure to work in, and when I saw that package today, it was so professional, and I think a lot of thanks are due to these two guys and their wives and the ones that have helped them do that, because I was very surprised at such a professional presentation of everything. I think you all would agree with me on that, and the way they've organised it, they put a lot of time in. I know they've been round the run, the two of them. They probably had a good time with it as well. We won't drill on that. But anyway, thank you very much, and thank you guys.
Thank you. We thought we'd have a little prize for someone that made a bit of a fool of themselves each day.
Or hard luck.
Yeah, or hard luck or whatever. So
Yeah.
we've got a little trophy that we're going to probably hand out each day at night time, and if you do get it, we want it back so we can hand it out again each night. And we're going to call it Dick of the Day. Now, we've had a few nominations for the day, and between Ray and myself, we've decided on person, a victim or whatever. We have decided that Mr. Paul Gleeson is going to receive it. Now, if you'd like to come forward, Paul.
The object of this...
Here you are.
You must have this all day tomorrow with you at all times.
Yeah, it's got to be
I'll
displayed.
probably have this for life.
No. You only get it for a day, and it's got to be displayed. You've got to be quite proud of it and show it off, all right?
You haven't seen tomorrow's tricks.
Yeah. Now, for those that don't realise, what it is for is one of Paul's trucks turned up at Moller Johnson's, and the driver took out the fence post, or damaged it quite badly.
We only scratched it. Come on.
Scratched it. Well, it was
You
bad
did
enough
get a job
anyway.
in Parliament.
Eh? Now, the reason why we're giving it to Paul wasn't driving the truck, but Paul was in charge of it. It's got his name on the side, and apart from that, it was on his side and he was navigating. So,
I only heard it after it happened.
Paul, you are Dick of the Day today. Thanks, mate.
Good man.
It's not very often that we all get to start together after basically sleeping in the same place. So all sorts of problems happen with the people getting towed, people jump starting, engines checked, so she's all go, go, go as everybody makes their preparation for the next leg, which is from Century Hill in New Plymouth up to Cambridge. Young Murray from Otago thanks his benefactor for helping him get the old Kenworth started. And look at that, sounds great. Another aspect that has to be taken into consideration when organising a run such as this is breakdowns. And for that, Vic Draper's brought along his transporter to help anyone who has a serious breakdown. Well, everybody's all fired up and they're away, heading out to the main road that'll take us up to Cambridge. In Series 1, Episode 11 of Toll New Zealand's Talking Trucks, we talked to Tom about his white. Tom found this truck in Wainui Omata, and it was fully restored by a man named Kevin Sutton. Tom says the history of this truck has been a logger and it's also been a transporter, and now it's just a fun truck for Tom. Twin sticks were popular back in the day, and Tom certainly got the knack of them. So there you go. Good on you, Tom. You did that very, very well. Tom Kiernan in the old white. Next up is Bob Ellis with his International R190.
Yeah, it was originally a log truck, had a petrol engine in 1967. The original owner was Blue Wills in Taupo. He used to cut logs all through there, the export. And then it sort of went through to Cambridge, and then it was converted to a tracked unit. I think that's when it was repowered with a 671. And then I bought it off a guy, Gordon Wright in Morrinsville, and I've had it for about 7 years. It's taken me 7 years to restore it. So, yeah, no, we completely rebuilt it, stripped it right down to the chassis, took the engine out, had it rebuilt by Peter Mochalowski at the Mount. He rebuilt the 671, so yeah, no, she's just like a brand new one. It's a good little truck.
Thanks for that, Bob, and that truck certainly does you proud. At the top of Mount Messenger, there's a tunnel. But on the other side is a man called Simon Vincent, who's the editor of Truck Journal. And in the November 2010 issue of Truck Journal, you'll find a great write-up of the Northern Classics run.
Well, the truck was assembled in 1973, built up especially for Mike Lambert, and it's got the famous V12 engine in it, of course, and it was like 20 years ahead of its time. It was really 20 years ahead of its time. It was just an amazing truck on the road. It sounded good, it looked good, and it was very reliable for many, many miles. In fact, I think Mike Lambert said this truck had done 2 million kilometres 22 years ago. So God knows what the mileage on it now. It's a little bit rattly inside, but you know, for 38 years old, it's done really well. So it's still a pleasure to drive today, and it's actually quite a buzz to drive. I can only imagine how good it would have been when it was brand new. So we were very envious of Alf Quaife, and he got this truck, and rightly so now that we've got to drive it. So yeah, no, it's just one of those trucks. Every town we've been at so far, the word's been ahead of us, and people have been waiting for it to turn up. The people that have only heard about it, and it's the first time they've seen it. So that's been quite a buzz.
Good on you, Barry, and she sounds really good. On the back of the Concorde, there's a mural that Barry had commissioned to put on there when he bought the Concorde from George Wallace. So good on you, Barry, for bringing it out, and I'm sure a lot of people really appreciated it, and it certainly looks good on the road. The next major point on the road north is we turn right at Awakino and head inland towards Tikawiti, and in towards Tikawiti there's a bit of a tunnel. At a cup of tea stop in Mokau, we linked up with Paul and Arthur McNay, and they have the other orange R190, and they'll be joining us till we get to the next stop, which is the Waitomo Caves, which is a group stop. That horn you just heard is in Paul's truck, and it's off a railway engine. And while we're on the topic of twin sticks, let's see Paul's version of changing the gears in the R190. And finally, in this little section of twin sticks, let's have a look at Robert Caulfield's version. Good on you, Robbie. Well, everyone's arrived at Waitomo Caves, and the place has certainly got a lot flasher than I remember it a long time ago since I was there. But everybody said it was still the amazing place they say it is, with all the glowworms and the caves and what have you. And now it's time for everybody to make their way to the town green in Cambridge. Well, that was rather an exciting journey from New Plymouth to Cambridge. Well, Ray Reid, one of the organisers, and his lovely wife Fiona have turned up, and there are quite a number of trucks already here. There are a number of new trucks who are just joining the run, and there will be a few leaving at this point as well. The local Cambridge Lions Club is helping out with the parking, and in association with the Ross brothers, the Cambridge Lions Club are organising a charity dinner at the Town Hall. What we're going to do now is put our camera person in this old Ministry of Transport car, and they're going to take a bit of a run around the paddock so you'll be able to see all the trucks that are parked up around the edges. So let's take a quick pan around the paddock and see what and who is here.
Where's your black suit? Want it dead or alive?
I've still got it, don't worry. Who let you out of jail?
Oh, I'm still in jail.
Right? Hey, thanks. You just got to keep rolling to the filming.
I see Ian Ridd's brought a truck up from somewhere, and it belongs to you now.
Yes, well, a bit of a surprise, Bill, actually. I had a look at this truck a few weeks ago on Trade Me and showed a little bit of excitement about it, but my wife said I wasn't allowed it. And today, come up from T-Row, and I was told it was a parcel for me to pick up off of Ian's truck, or from Ian. And when I got here and asked Ian, he said, yes, there's a parcel, all right, Brian, but it's a big one. So that was a real big shock. And my wife and a friend of ours did the business, and
Snuck it up for me.
So it's been really good. So it's been a good day. So
excellent day. So was it your birthday or anything?
No, but it feels like it.
Yeah.
But no, I'm really stoked, and yeah, it's a pretty restorable old truck, really. So
yeah, no, everything that Ian seems to have seems to be restorable. Well, that has anything to do with. We were down at the Southern auction, Richardson auction, where they auction off a whole bunch of things, and amazing the prices they got for some of that stuff.
Yeah.
So you'll take it into a shed now and get started on it?
I will do. I've got a couple of other projects on the case first, and I'll get those out of the road, and then I'll make a start on this one. So
what is it?
It's a 36 half-ton Chevy. It's been in a shed since 1961. It's the last time it was out of a shed. So, so it's spent most of its life dry stored. So it's quite a shed find, really, quite a barn find.
So it hasn't run since 1961.
Apparently, he has had it running just recently, but in actual fact, it hasn't been out of the shed since 1961. So
what a great project for you.
Oh, fantastic! And it's been a North Canterbury truck, so it should be pretty dry. It's been in good dry conditions. So. It'll be a really good restorable truck. So.
Great talking to you, Brian.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And enjoy your new project.
Thank you very much.
First of all, what I'd like to do is I'd like to thank the locals here. I'd like to thank the Ross boys for the time and effort that they've put into this evening tonight. They've done a hell of a lot of organising and arranged the park up area and that. I'd also like to thank the Mayor and the local council who have got right behind this event. I tell you what a fabulous turnout we've got out there. Yesterday we were down at Molla Johnson. We had a bit of a count of the trucks. We had 50 trucks there exactly. Tim and I had a bit of a count up earlier on around here, and it was a little bit hard to count, but we came up with probably 70 or more trucks out there, which is really quite impressive. Extremely well done, you know. Probably first of all, one person that has worked behind the scenes, they say behind every good man is a good woman. Well, behind the 4 good guys that have organised this, there has been one woman behind them, and she's done a hell of a lot for it. That is Michelle Miller. I'd like Michelle to come up, please.
Thank you, everyone. This is a bit of a surprise. Well, you know, you've got to have some good woman to keep these Ross boys under control. But thank you anyway. They've been a great support, and you know, this is what teamwork's all about. You get together, and things like this work out. And I'd just like to thank everybody for coming tonight, the council for the support that they've had, and like the radio chap that rang yesterday, I haven't got a prepared speech, so I'll have to leave it at that. Thank you. Thanks very much.
The Ross boys are based here in Cambridge, and they're probably a bit like myself, they're probably a bit bigger. They're arithmetic contractors. We're going to go out and see the yard tomorrow morning. That's where we're going to start from, and we're going to go from here to Harura and have a look at their coal stripping operation. Right now, if I can just introduce them, we've got Mike down the end, Tony, Simon, and Tim. Now, that's correct. What we'd like to do, in appreciation for what you guys have done, we'd like to just give you a little something, and it's just a small plaque in our appreciation. Thank you very much, guys. Now, dick of the day. This guy made a bit of a dick of himself yesterday, but we let him off yesterday. He was driving a truck with a trailer on, he's bouncing over bloody islands, and he forgot he had his trailer on. And today, he backed out of the motel in a truck, and it was a single drive, and he ended up cast in the middle of the curb. He couldn't go backwards, couldn't go forward, and his big brother had to come and help him. So dick of the day is Mark Draper. Please come over here. So you very nearly got it yesterday, but you just kept on going, so you definitely got it today. Congratulations.
I was going to say, that's brotherly love for you, but I actually think it's his sons that actually voted for me, wasn't it? Thanks, guys. I'll wear it pride tomorrow.